So many people say watercolor is difficult, but it can be great for beginners. So I've set out to see if I can create a project that anyone can paint, even with no experience. Welcome to Art by Charity. I'm Charity, and I'm here to encourage you to make art more a part of your life, either by creating art or appreciating it and cheering on the artists in your life. Art offers a unique form of self-expression, one that is worth pursuing. It's a visual language, and images can speak to us on a deep level, making our experience of life much more meaningful. So let's dive deeper into this project now that you've seen a quick overview. You can simply watch and enjoy the process, or if you're up for some fun, try painting along with me. Supplies are in the description below. I'm completing this painting with just 2 colors. I start with a nice warm yellow. I'm just painting in the shape of the leaves. I'm using lots of pigment here for our wet and wet technique, and I'm making a point of leaving a bit of the white of the page showing, as you can see, for extra contrast. I'm making sure that my paint is wet enough to move around and stay wet. The key to watercolor is figuring out how much water to use. Just play around with it, and you'll learn how to make the paint flow without the color being too watered down. And just as a side note, if you're painting along, feel free to pause the video as often as you need. And now I'm adding in some dark blue, and it's mixing right on my brush here since I still have some yellow on the brush. So I'm putting in the stem, and it's creating a really beautiful green here with some variation of dark and light. When I first started painting, I had no idea where to start. This was before the days of YouTube, and the only tutorials I could find were in published books and quite complex. So I bought big canvases and set out to do big, overwhelming paintings. It wasn't until years later that I discovered a simple small sketch could bring great satisfaction. I'm planning to do something a bit different with the third leaf, so as I paint the stem for the third leaf, I just dab a bit of water on the end to soften it up so that we're not getting a harsh line where the stem meets the leaf. Where on the other ones, the paint from the leaf blends right into the stem because it's still wet. And now I'm dropping in some of the dark blue, and this is the wet and wet technique that I love so much. I'm dropping wet paint into paint that's still wet. I love watching how the paint responds and seeing what designs I get. This is a really fun technique, and I think it's great for beginners. You can create these abstract shapes within your leaf and just have fun playing around with the paint. Don't worry too much about the outcome. Just enjoy the process, see what you can create, and then when you're finished, try it again. It's amazing to see how differently this little project can turn out each time. I enjoy doing these simple paintings over and over and seeing what turns out differently from one time to the next. I think it's important to keep coming back to simple paintings and sketches. I enjoy creating more complex artwork too, like my eagle paintings in my Bear Mountain series. It took years of building my skill to get to this place, and I found such a satisfaction in being able to paint them. But these small, simple paintings help me not to get too overwhelmed or to put too much pressure on myself. When I'm painting these, I feel a sense of calm. And when I'm calm, I'm able to take in more of the wonder around me. I want you to be able to experience this too. Art is a form of therapy for me. It's a combination of bringing peace into my life. Painting can be really relaxing, but also challenging myself and seeing what I can do today that maybe I couldn't do yesterday. So there's an element of relaxation and an element of personal growth. So here I go, painting in the third leaf. I wanted it to be quite a bit darker than the other two, so I went in with the yellow on one side and the dark Prussian blue on the other. I'm watching these colors mix on the paper, another thing I love about watercolor. And I just want to see what kind of effect this would make, to have some variety in my composition. And now here I am, dropping in some dark blue pigment, and I'm really happy with the results I'm getting. I just love that 2 colors can make such a variation. So many shades. There's really a depth of color in this simple painting. It's important to use a dark blue. If you use a lighter blue, you'll still get some interesting results, but it won't have the same contrast I'm starting to see here now, especially as I drop in this really dark blue pigment. And I'm so happy with how this is turning out. So as we're wrapping up this simple painting of 3 leaves, I hope you feel inspired to do one of 2 things. Either 1, try out the painting, or 2, to encourage an artist in your life, or both. And if you do try it out, I'd love to know, how did it go for you? And have I succeeded at creating an art project that anyone can paint? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already watched my row of poplar video, it's done in a similar style. I'll leave the link here. Thanks for joining me here today, and happy creating. I'll see you next time.